What's up, everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. So the NBA draft is this week, and this entire week on the channel we're going to be doing draft-related things. Starting today with version 2 of my NBA draft big board for 2023. This will be my final big board. I only did 2 of them this year. So yeah, version 2. This is, if you don't know what a big board is in the draft, is basically a ranking of the players. Doesn't matter what draft order is and what teams are in which spot, just the ranking of the order of the players. You know, and these are my personal rankings, so if you have a problem with them or disagree, that's fine. You know, we all have our different opinions. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And yeah, don't want to waste any more time. It's going to be a long video. Let's get right into it. And also today is part 1. We're doing prospects 60 through 31. And then tomorrow we'll be doing 30 to number 1. Yeah. So let's get right into it right now. Starting at number 60, we have Oscar Tshiebwe, 6'8", 254-pound center out of Kentucky, 23-year-old senior. He stays at number 60. He was number 60 last time. Still kind of the same things about him, you know, because of his college numbers and what he did in college at Kentucky, West Virginia, and other schools. He's going to definitely maybe get a chance, you know, his hustling, his rebounding ability, his wingspan, about a 7'3"-ish wingspan at 6'8". The only question is going to be the translating to the NBA as a big man, as a smaller big man. He's only 6'8", does have a long wingspan, not very skilled center, more of just a lot of heart and hustle. So, of course, team will give him a chance because of that, but it's just going to be very interesting to see how he translates to the league as a smaller center that's not really skilled. You know, there's definitely a place somewhere for him. It's just how well is that going to fit. At 59, we have a newbie on this list, Markquis Nowell. If you watched the NCAA tournament, you know who this man is. Markquis Nowell, 5'8", 160-pound point guard out of Kansas State, 23-year-old senior, lit up the NCAA tournament, kind of rose his name in draft boards. It's still going to be very interesting to see how he translates to the NBA. I didn't have him on my draft board in my first version, but now I have him here in the second version. You know, I mean, his passing ability is amazing. I think we all know that his passing ability, his vision is amazing. Ball handling ability is great. And the heart and the hustle, the being smaller, 5'8", not afraid of anybody, will attack the rim. You know, a lot of range. He's some very deep three-pointers in the tournament. Has a lot of confidence. It's just the question about him is always going to be his size. He's only 5'8", you know, and defenses are going to pick on him a lot. And how well can he run an offense and do the things he did at Kansas State in the NBA against some of the best competition, against some of the best defenders at the guard position, with him already lacking the height and the size. But of course, I think there is a place for him somewhere. You know, he might not be a star or anything, but I think there definitely is a place for him because of how well he knows the game, how well he could pass the ball, and just maybe be a game manager type of dude. Also, you know, getting flashy, throwing some great highlight passes. He could be kind of a game manager, backup point guard in a way. I think that's a great role for him on some team. But it's going to be very tough for him, but I think he could be a guy that can get in there and make a name for himself. At 58, I have Hunter Tyson. He is a 6'8", 219-pound power forward out of Clemson, another 23-year-old senior. Really jumped up the draft board. Wasn't in my first version of my draft board here at 58 now. Kind of a late bloomer at Clemson. He didn't really grow till later. He averaged 15-9 last year as a senior year. He shot 48% from the field, 40% from 3. He can really shoot the ball as a forward. Has great range. Hit a lot of clutch shots at Clemson. Solid cutter as well, finishing inside. Played a lot off the ball at Clemson, which is a good sign. So, yeah, I think there's definitely a place for him. A team can definitely take a chance on him as a stretch big man that can score inside as well. The only thing is defensively how well he's going to match up. You know, especially against wing players. He's going to be more on the wing than he was at Clemson. So, how well is that going to match up? And then the pass ability doesn't really pass a whole lot. So, how's the passing going to work? And how just well is he going to translate to the league? It's going to be very interesting to see. But I think someone can give him a chance just because of his shooting ability at 6'8", 6'9", as a stretch forward. At 57, I have Mojave King, 6'4", 201-pound wing player. Played with the G League Ignite. He's 21 years old from Australia. He played in Australia for a little while before moving over to the G League And he's just a very solid role player with the G League. You know, cutting, very good cutter. Found him on a lot of backdoor passes for easy layups and easy dunks. His jump shot is solid. He only shot 32%, but he has a solid jumper. Has some scoring potential and creating ability potential that he showed a little bit. Still has to get a lot of work done on that, though. High IQ player. The only question for him defensively, he needs to get better defensively. He's still kind of very raw, even though he is 21 years old. Still a little bit raw in the G League night, and he played with the Adelaide 36ers, who produced guys like Josh Giddey, but he wasn't really finding his groove there, so he went over to the G League. So how are those struggles gonna hinder him at the next level? He needs to be more consistent shooting the ball as well. But I definitely could see a team take a chance on maybe late second, maybe even undrafted, being a guy that maybe gets on a two-way contract. It could kind of jump out as a very solid role player, 3-and-D maybe type player in a really good system. At 56, I have Jalen Slawson. He's 6'7", 222-pound forward out of Furman, another 23-year-old senior, another guy that wasn't on version 1 of my draft board, but is now here at 56. He's a Wayne player that really broke out as a senior at Furman. He's a dude that has kind of a Swiss Army knife type of potential. As a forward, he's really good at passing the ball. Also, the system he's in as Furman allowed him to show a lot of his passing ability. Attacking the basket is very solid. Defensively, he's got a lot of potential as well. Steals and blocks. He averaged 1.5 steal and 1.5 blocks last year. The shooting ability has gotten a lot better and decent. Still needs to get a little more consistent because he didn't really start shooting the ball that well till later on. So he definitely needs to be more consistent at that. He shot 55% from the field as a forward. That has a lot of attacking the basket. The big question is going to be, can he translate as a forward? Because I feel like he has a very interesting kind of game as a forward, and the NBA is going to be more of a small forward, maybe even a two-guard at some point. So how well is that going to translate to that? Perimeter. On the perimeter, he's not very, very effective. He's more of a, give me the ball and let me attack the basket. And the NBA, he's not going to be able to attack the basket as easily. So how can he kind of translate his game as a perimeter player? But I definitely think he has a lot of potential as a kind of a Swiss Army knife forward that could play the 2, the 3, and the 4. That could do a lot of different things defensively and offensively. Very, very interesting to me. At 55, we have Adama Sonogo. 6'7", 258-pound center out of UConn. 21-year-old junior. He won tournament's most outstanding player this year. He jumps up 2 spots in my big board from 57 up to 55. I still really like him as a second-round center. He's definitely got a lot of potential. Strong, big body, NBA-ready body, scores well inside, offensive rebounding really good. He saw a touch around the rim, very efficient. He shot 60% from the field last year. And the hustle and the heart is there. But he's kind of similar questions to Oscar Tshiebwe in a sense of he's very small. He's only 6'7", 6'8", and he can't really play anything else besides center because he doesn't have the shooting ability, even though he did try to take some shots from outside the paint. So maybe if that develops into his skill set, maybe that could open some things up for him. He's very small as a center. How could he translate as a big? And then the rim protection. He wasn't really a big rim protector at UConn either. So in the NBA, how is that going to translate, especially with him already being smaller? I definitely could see a team taking a chance on him just because of his NCAA tournament run, and because he's definitely got some very solid skills as a center. If he was a few inches taller, I think he'll be a guaranteed pick. I feel like, but because of his height, get some questions. At 54, I have Isaiah Wong, 6'3", 178-pound guard out of Miami, 22-year-old senior. He moves up 2 spots as well from 56 to 54, and he's a very athletic guard. Get to the basket and finish. His shooting ability is very coming on a lot, especially his senior year. He could shot up to 38% from 3. Defensively, he's very solid. Guy that can create his own shot as well. The only things that is going to be questioned is, can he be a point guard in the next level? He's going to be more of a 2 guard because he's only 6'3", 178 pounds, and played kind of like a 1-2 weird position. He doesn't really facilitate or play make a lot. So can he do that? And can he consistently knock down the jump shots? Because I think the best thing about him is his athletic ability, getting out in transition or getting the ball in the wing and attacking the basket and finishing at the rim. So can he consistently be a jump shooter? Well, not be just a jump shooter, but consistently knock down jumpers when he's given them at the next level. And I think if he can do that, he can have a very solid career. At 53, I have Mouhamed Gueye, 6'10", 213-pound power forward center out of Washington State. He's a 20-year-old sophomore. Moves down 1 spot in my draft board, was 52, now moves down to 53. He's still a very intriguing center with a very interesting skill set. as a bigger. He's definitely more of a power forward than a center. Moves very well, very fluid. Can shoot the ball very solid. Nice mid-range game. The three-point shot has potential, even though he only shot 27% last year. He has a very solid jumper. Could score inside. A lot of length. Holds his own perimeter defense as well. The only things at the next level are he probably needs to put on a little more weight, and he's going to be a power forward or center. Because he definitely has. If he can become a center, I think it would be very valuable as a dude that can do a lot of different things. It's just he doesn't really play like a center, even though he is 6'11", 6'10". So he's probably going to be more of a power forward, and as a power forward, can hold his own on the perimeter consistently, and can he consistently play on the perimeter and get that jump shot going, and being consistent with the shooting ability. At 52, I have Jalen Wilson, 6'5", 230-pound power or forward out of Kansas, 22-year-old senior. He took the biggest drop from version 1 to version 2. My big board, he went down 10 spots from 42 to 52. He's very, not confusing, but he's very interesting as a prospect because he had at Kansas he was very, very good. Very, very legendary Kansas career. It's just, I don't really know what he's going to be at the next level in the NBA. He's got a big, his body, already NBA ready body, uses his strength to his advantage. Catch and shoot, he did that very solid at Kansas. Still needs to get a lot better though, and was pretty solid at attacking the basket and scoring inside. The thing is, he doesn't really do other things. Defensively he's solid, but he's not great. He doesn't really have one skill that stands out above the rest. He just has a bunch of little skills that he's very decent at. But I just don't. It's going to be very tough, especially with him not being super, super athletic and fast, even though he's only 6'5", so he's going to play a lot more 3, maybe even the 2 at some points in the NBA. So it's just going to be interesting to see how he translates and what skills will really stick out at the next level. At 51, I have Ricky Council IV, 6'5", 28-pound wing out of Arkansas. He's a 21-year-old junior. He dropped down 4 spots in my draft board from 47 to 51. He's very interesting as a player to look at as well because, he's very athletic, can finish at the basket, has a lot of highlight reel dunks. The body's already strong, can get to the rim, steals. The only big thing is going to be his three-point shot. He only shot 27% from 3 last year. The jumper is a little set shot-y, so I don't know how well that's going to be at the next level. And ball handling as well, he's not very well out. Defensively, he's very solid. But without that if that three-point shot can be consistent, I think he'd be a very solid role player for a team. But if he can't, then I'm not really sure where he can really get in and fit in. Even though he can, he's very athletic, can attack the basket, but now he's going to be facing against NBA defenders. It's going to be a very different from when he was playing in college. At 50, I have Jaylen Clark, 6'4", 204-pound wing out of UCLA, 21-year-old junior. He also dropped down 4 spots on this draft board from 46 to 50. Defensively, he's already there. He won Defensive Player of the Year in his conference last year. He averaged over 2.5 steals per game. So defensively, he's already there. Good cutter, solid scoring inside. He's very fast. But again, he's coming off a big foot injury that he suffered last year, late in this year, that forced him to miss the NCAA tournament. And the jumper definitely needs a lot more consistency. He shot 33%, but he still needs to get a lot better at shooting and a lot more looks. He didn't really shoot that many three-pointers last year at UCLA. So that's going to be the make or break thing. If he can come back from this injury and still have the same athleticism, because he was very fast, very athletic at UCLA. So hopefully this foot injury doesn't set him back and he can come back and still have the same athleticism and work that jumper out. He's going to be good. He's going to have a long career if he can do that. At 49, I have Keyontae Johnson, 6'4", 239-pound small forward out of Kansas State, a 23-year-old senior. He jumps up 2 spots in this draft board from 51 to 49. We all know about Keyontae Johnson, his college career at Florida, very solid. Had that scary collapse, missed a year, came back to Kansas State, played really good at senior year. Now the NBA cleared him to play and get drafted. And he's a very interesting prospect because, he's already NBA ready, very strong body, get to the rim and score. His shooting was very good. He shot 40% from 3 last year. Catch and shoot, very solid. A lot of tough shots he made as well. The only thing is, can consistently be without the ball and consistently catch and shoot that way, because he also scored a lot of his points on just give me the ball and let me post up and do stuff like that. But now he's going to the NBA and he's only 6'4", both 6'4", 6'5", even though he has a bigger body. He's going to be playing a lot more on the wing and perimeter. He's not going to get a lot of paint or post touches So can he consistently score and play well on that? And can he do other things besides score? Defensively, he's solid. Doesn't really pass the ball that well. So just can he do other things besides score? And if he can score, can he translate and can he do it consistently in the NBA despite being smaller and now having to go maybe play a lot differently than he was at Kansas State? At 48, have Jordan Miller, 6'4", 192-pound wing out of Miami, 23-year-old senior. He jumped up 5 spots in this draft board from 53 to 48. And I think he's he's a very solid pick in the second round as a Swiss Army knife type of do-it-all wing player. You know, play the 2, the 3, maybe even the 4 sometimes. He's very efficient. Doesn't really take a lot of shots when he does. He makes them. He shot 54% last year from the field. Can get to the basket and score. Makes really good passes. Catch and shoot was very solid. Defensively, he was very solid. Hit a lot of clutch shots as well, Miami, when they needed a clutch three-pointer. I feel like he was always the one hitting the shot. And especially with guys like Bruce Brown doing what he did last year and now maybe getting paid. Jordan Miller, guys like them might be getting a lot more look at and recognition, which is why I think Jordan Miller might be getting drafted a little higher than we think because he can do all those different things. He can do, he can play up multiple positions, be very versatile, score in different ways, make different impact on the game besides getting his own. At 47, I have Julian Phillips. He's 6'7", 197-pound forward out of Tennessee. He's a 19-year-old freshman. He jumped up 3 spots on his big board from 50 to 47. He's still very raw as a player. Still very raw. Still needs a lot more skill set, but the size and the NBA-ready kind of body he already has at 19 years old. Always around the rim, hustles. Very good rebounder. He's always around the rim to get defense and offensive rebounds. Gets to the line a lot when he attacks. You know, defensively, he's got a lot of skills and potential as well. Again, he's still very raw. The shooting needs to get better. He only shot 24% from 3 last year in his freshman year. Needs to get a lot more stronger as well with the ball. A lot of times when he was inside, and he just, needs to get better at finishing through contact as well. There's a lot of times when he got to the basket and he got hit and he just threw up a shot. He got to the free throw line very well, but he just, he needs to get stronger at that inside, and still is kind of a project. But I think he's definitely worth a pick in the second round with already kind of the body and already kind of the potential of skills he has at 19. At 46, I have Seth Lundy. He's 6'4", 214-pound wing out of Penn State, 23-year-old senior. He was tied for the biggest jump in this draft. In my draft board, he went up 9 spots from 55 to 46. And seeing him at the draft combine, what he did, and kind of, it made me realize that his skill set is a lot more translatable and a lot more, a lot more teams will look at him in the next level in the NBA. He's a flamethrower. He shot 40% from 3 last year at Penn State. One thing he can really do well is shoot the ball. He gets to the rim very solid as well. Rebounding is very good. Tough shot maker. Took a lot of very contested 3-pointers, but he knocked them down. And just has like that confident shooter of like, I don't care if I'm 9 for 10 or 0 for 10. I'm going to take this shot. He has that thing about him. And I think with the way he shot the ball last year at Penn State and in the draft combine, he's definitely going to be a second-round pick. And definitely a guy that maybe he can come in and make some really good plays as a rookie, or maybe a little bit down the line and teams will be like, dang, they got a steal down there in the 40s or wherever he gets drafted. At 45, I have Chris Livingston. He's 6'6", 219-pound small forward out of Kentucky. He's a 19-year-old freshman. He also took a 9 spot jump going from 54 to 45. Probably going to get picked. He canceled all his workouts because people think he already has a guarantee in the NBA draft. Even though he's a 19-year-old freshman, I think if he did go back to Kentucky for one more year, he definitely would be a first-round pick. But I think he's definitely going to get drafted. He definitely do worth drafting. At 19 years old, at Kentucky, he wasn't the big star or anything, but he did a lot of things off the ball and kind of a really good role player. I feel like at Kentucky, strong body, good at finishing at the rim as well. Catch and shoot was solid, even though he only shot 30%. Has some good moments of catch and shoot. Defensively, he was there. Likes to get into the trenches, get rebounds. He had a lot of big offense and defensive rebounds last year at Kentucky. And just was kind of like the guy that did all the little things last year. And I think him being 19 years old and already willing to do all those things is definitely a good look for him. And I think going to the next level of the NBA, everyone's looking for a guy like that. And I think if his shooting comes around and gets a little bit more, polished, he could be very valuable. At 44, I have Kobe Brown. He's 6'7", 252-pound forward out of Missouri, 23-year-old senior. He jumped down one spot from 43 to 44. And he's one of the more prospects I'm intrigued in for the second round, even though he's not a big name. But he's a guy that I saw in Missouri, and is very unique as a player. He's 6'7", 252. He's very big. He's a bigger player, but he moves very well for his size. Offensively and defensively, he's a really good playmaker. Ran a lot of the offense at Missouri. Shooting, he did very well. He shot 45% from three last year. That really improved. Could score well inside. Can be a do-it-all kind of power forward. He plays more like a power forward. But the next level is going to be very interesting because how well can he translate as a wing player? He's going to be going up against some of the best and some bigger players. So how well can he do those skills against some NBA talent? Can he stay in front of wings defensively at the next level? Because he's going to be a lot more in the perimeter. And can he consistently play off the ball? Because he had the ball a lot in his hands in Missouri. So can he consistently play off the ball? Maybe get that shooting a lot more consistent and stuff like that. But if he can, he could be a very intriguing player in the NBA. At 43, I have Emoni Bates, 6'8", 179-pound small forward out of Eastern Michigan, 19-year-old sophomore. He jumps up one spot from 44 to 43. We all know about Emoni Bates, high school, middle school even, all that stuff. He was one of the top players in the class, went to Memphis, didn't really play that well, then got into some off-the-court issues, then transfers to Eastern Michigan where he was by himself and has some really good numbers. But it's gonna be very interesting to see what team takes the chance on him. We all know he can score the ball. With his body, the things he can do, he can score the ball very well. Score at all three levels, get in his zone anytime. Really tough shot maker as well. Can't say anything about that. The only thing is the other things. Can he do other things besides score? The weight, of course, he's very small still. The shot selection wasn't good, and then the off the court issues. And having to kind of be a role player in the next level, not be a star, not have everything revolve around him. Can he do that consistently at the next level? Well, he's definitely going to be worth a shot in the second round just because of what he can do and his skills already. At 42, I have Tristan Vukcevic. He's a 6'11", 223-pound power forward center. He played for Real Madrid B last year. He's 20 years old. He jumped up 3 spots, up from 45 to 42. He's a guy I'm very interested in the second round. His stats don't look crazy because he was playing overseas professionally, but he's got some very good skill set. At dang near 7 feet, he can really stretch the floor, shoot well. He shot 38% from 3 last season. Even the mid-range, he's good. Can run the floor very solid. Can handle the ball very well for being as big as he is, too. So he's definitely a guy that has been rising up draft boards, especially because he's participating in the draft combines, scrimmages and stuff. He played really well in those. So he's definitely a guy I could see maybe going a little bit higher than expecting when the draft comes because of the skills he has at 6'11", dang near 7 feet. The only thing that's going to be tough is defensively and how can he translate position-wise, because he might be asked to play center at the next level, but I don't know if he plays more like a power forward because there's definitely a lot of times where he settles for jumpers. Instead of going and attacking a smaller dude, he'll just pull up for a mid-range and face up. So he's probably going to play more of a power forward, but can he keep up defensively as a power forward, and stay on the perimeter a lot more and guard more quicker players than guarding centers at the next level. And even as a center at the next level, he didn't really block a lot of shots, do stuff like that last year. So very interesting to see, but I think he's very good here around this range. I think I would take a chance on him. At 41, we have Terquavion Smith. He's a 6'2", 163-pound guard out of NC State. He's a 20-year-old sophomore. He dropped down 4 spots in my big board from 37 to 41. He's very interesting because he's very athletic, very fast. He's very small. He's only 6'2", 163. The shooting ability is really good, even though he takes a lot of shots. There's no denying that he has a lot of range and can hit a lot of crazy tough shots. Very, very tough shot maker, especially deep. He's not afraid to pull from deep on 3-pointers as well. Not afraid to shoot the 3 ball. The only thing is that his size, definitely his efficiency. He only shot 38% from the field last year. He doesn't have good shot selection. And he doesn't really, for being a scorer, he doesn't really attack the rim that much because of his size. He's athletic, but because of his size, a lot of his inside stuff or his dunks are on fast breaks. In half-court setting, he's more just going to stand behind the 3-point line and wait for his shot. So I think some teams definitely going to take a chance on him to be kind of a spark plug microwave off the bench that potentially can get hot and hit a lot of shots, because he definitely can do that. But it's just how consistently can he do that, and can he get better at some other things besides just shooting deep threes. At 40, I have Amari Bailey, 6'3", 191-pound, two-guard out of UCLA. He's a 19-year-old freshman. He jumps down one spot from 39 to 40 on the big board. And he's a guy that I think he's ranked lower than I feel like I would have him. You know, because I think a lot of things about him is he doesn't really have one skill that stands out from the rest and stuff like that. But I really liked him in his freshman year at UCLA, especially he was a top. I forgot what number he was, but he was a top guy coming out of Sierra Canyon, going to UCLA. It was more of like the number 4-3 guy, but as the season went on with injury and stuff, he had a lot more to ask of him, and he did pretty well, especially in the tournament. You know, he can get to the basket and score. You know, finishing around the rim is very nice. Can handle the ball as well. The shooting has potential, even though he doesn't really take a lot of jumpers. He's more of a attack the rim type of guy. He shot 39% from 3. Yeah, would like to see him maybe create for himself, shooting the ball a lot more. Can he consistently be off the ball? Because a lot of his time is give me the ball and let me work, get to the paint, and finish. You know, so can he do that? And then passing the ball as well. If he's going to be a elite ball handler, he's got to be able to pass the ball. He didn't really do that much until later in the season. But can he consistently do that? But I think I would definitely take a shot on him because he has a lot of tools that I think could potentially, if he could do those things like create for himself jumpers and pass the ball and play make for some others a lot more consistently, I think he could do that very well. At 39, I have Ben Sheppard. 6'5", 194-pound two-guard at Belmont. He's a 21-year-old senior. He was the third person tied for the highest jump in the big board. He jumps up 9 spots from 48 to 39. And one of those dudes that's really rising up draft boards because he's got not really a lot of people know about. I mean, he went to Belmont, you know. But he's just a very solid plug-and-play two-guard. You know, he could do a lot of different things. Shooting the ball well. He shot 41% from 3 last year. Could play off the ball, very high IQ, good cutter. Defensively, passes well. Kind of just a really good player to put into his system, and he could make it work. You know, a second-round player. Definitely has some things about him, but I think he's definitely worth a shot in the second round. And he's a dude that I think he can just plug in anywhere and kind of find a role for himself. At 30, I have Jordan Walsh. He's a 6'6", 204-pound small forward out of Arkansas, 19-year-old freshman. He jumps up 3 spots in this big board from 41 to 38. And he's one of the more intriguing guys in the second round for me and maybe for everybody because of his defensive ability. I think he's got like, a 7'1" wingspan at 6'6". Defensively, he's already there. Was really good, especially as a freshman, standing out on the defensive side of the ball at Arkansas. You know, his length, of course. And then the offensive end, he can attack the rim. Very solid as well. The only thing, the big make or break is going to be the three-point shot. You know, he only shot 27% from 3 last year. He has some potential, but if he consistently knock down the threes at a decent rate, not even having to be doesn't have to be a 44, 45% three-point shooter, but just be around 35%, 36%, be respectable, he will have a very long career. I think I said this in the first mock draft video, but he will have a 15-year career just like that if he can be just decent at the three-point shot because defensively he has all the tools in the world and teams are going to throw him out there just because of his defensive ability. You know, everyone wants a defensive wing that can guard multiple positions and do the things that he can do. So he could just be a respectable three-point shooter. You know, he'll make a lot of money. At 37, I have Marcus Sasser. He's 6'1", 196-pound guard at Houston, 22-year-old senior. He jumped down 6 spots in my board from 31 to 37. I spoke very highly of him in my first mock draft video, and I still am very high of him. I honestly, personally think if he goes to the right team and plays well, he can be the steal of the second round. I really love his game as a smaller guard that can create his own, shoots very well from 3, get his own bucket. Handles are nice. Defensively, he can get in under your skin as well. It's just going to be very tough because he is smaller. He doesn't really play like a point guard. He's more of a 2-guard in a point guard's body. So it's going to be very tough kind of for players like that to adjust to the NBA and find a role for himself. You know, and of course, even though he is solid defensively, teams are still going to attack him because he's only 6'1". But I think if he can find some consistency and maybe playmaking a little bit more and just being a good bucket getter, shooter, especially, he can definitely find a role for himself as a backup guard in the league. And I think he's going to be a very fun, fan favorite type of player as well. At 36, I have Julian Strawther, 6'6", 209-pound wing out of Gonzaga, 21-year-old junior. He stays the same from last big board. But I spoke highly about him as well. And I still am very high on Julian Strawther. I still honestly think he can be the best second round pick in the draft because he definitely has a lot of things I love. His shooting ability, he shot 40% from three last year, could score off the ball. Wasn't really the main guy at Gonzaga, but hit some big shots. Could score off the ball, nice touch around the rim, rebounds well. Defensively, he can do some things as well. He can be a dude that, if he finds the right team, maybe like a Warriors or a team like that uses him well, like he kind of did at Gonzaga, he can fit in and have a long career as a role player just because he could score the ball, but he's not very give me the ball and let me work. He scores a lot in like the flow of the offense type stuff, and I really like that. And I'm a big fan of Julian Strawther. And yeah, again, I think he can be the best player in the second round of this draft. At 35, I have James Nagy. He's a 7 foot, 251 pound big man. He played at Barcelona last year. He's still only 18 years old. He stays the same in my draft board, but I think he can definitely go a lot higher than this because, especially the last few days, he had his draft combine stuff come out, and he is a freak of genetic. He hit the genetic pool, bro. I mean, 18 years old. He's 7 feet, 250. I think he has a 7'7" wingspan. He's already a grown man at 18, and he has a lot of solid skill set, athletic as well, very long arms. Shot blocking was very good. He has amazing defensive potential, and then the offensive end, really good at catching lobs. Of course, he still needs a little bit more development, scoring the ball inside, and then the fouls are a little bit of a problem. But, with his size and his body already, he can come in and make a difference as a backup big. And with the potential he has to be a monster on the defensive end, I think someone's definitely going to buy into him. He can probably go in the first round. I think, even though I have him, on my big board as 35, I definitely could see a scenario where he goes maybe mid-20s, because teams are definitely going to want to buy, especially with the center class not being crazy. In this draft, he can definitely be a dude that goes a lot higher than this. At 34, I have Jaime Jacquez Jr., 6'6", 226 pound forward out of UCLA, 22-year-old senior. He drops down 2 spots in this mock from this big board from 32 to 34. Still a very interesting guy in the draft. Played a lot more of a big man role at UCLA. Was a really good player at UCLA. But now in the NBA, he's only 6'6". He's going to be more of a wing type player. Finishes through contact well. Can score very well inside. The jump shot, even though the percentages don't look good, he got a lot better at shooting the ball. He's going to need to get a lot better. Rebounds well. He's a lot more athletic than you think he was. Playing the way he played at UCLA, you wouldn't think he was very athletic, but he definitely is athletic. Very good in running transition as well. The only thing is, how well can he translate as a wing player? Because he played more of a power forward type role. In the league, he's going to be more of a small forward. So definitely, how well can he translate that? Can consistently score from the perimeter as well, and that's a big key because at UCLA, he was more of a give me the ball and let me work in the paint. And the next level, he's going to be more of on the wing, shooting the ball, creating for himself like that way. So can he do that? And then defensively, can he stay in front of perimeter guys? But I definitely think he's got a lot more potential to translate as well as some others, and that's why he's a little bit higher, even though he does have a lot of questions. And I think he can translate very well and have a very solid role in the league. At 33, I have Andre Jackson Jr., 6'6", 198 pound wing out of UConn, a 21-year-old junior. He stays the same from version 1 of my big board. He's a Swiss Army knife type player. Can very athletic, can dunk on you, get to the rim, passes very well defensively, can do stuff, rebounds very well. The only big question is going to be his jumper. Not really a good shooter. He did show some potential in the tournament, but still needs to see a lot more consistency in shooting the jump shot. It's not really a shot creator, but he's more of a in the flow of the offense type player. But I definitely think he's worth a shot in the early second round because he just has a very interesting skill set, and do a lot of different things very well. His passing ability was very good last year. His athletic ability is great. His defensive ability potential is there. So all the team needs to do is unlock that jump shot. It could be a very, very good, very valuable role player. At 32, I have Olivier Maxence Prosper. He's 6'7", 212 pound wing out of Marquette, 20-year-old junior. He took a big jump in my big board as well. He jumped from 40 to 32. And that's because I feel like looking at him again and looking at what teams want, he's a perfect guy that teams want. And I won't be surprised if he maybe even goes late first round. I feel like the last few days his stock's really gone up. As kind of a wing that can do a lot of different things. He has a lot of length. I forgot how big his wingspan exactly is, but he has a long wingspan at 6'7". Defensively, he can hold his own. The catch and shoot has gotten a lot better. Still needs a little bit more work, but he's definitely got a lot better there. And the energy he brings, he's that dude that will have a big offensive rebound, putback dunk that'll get the crowd into it, or a big block, or transition to make a big dunk that will hype the crowd up. Has a lot of plays like that. Definitely still needs to get a little bit bigger, and stronger. It needs to be a little bit more control as well, because there's a lot of times we go into the rim and just, out of control, just throws up a shot, it falls to the ground. But I think he's definitely worth a shot late or early first. I mean, early second, maybe even late first. Yeah, he's kind of like a prototypical guy that teams will want as maybe a backup or even a starting wing. And at 31, I have Jaime Jackson II. He's 6'8", 214-pound forward out of South Carolina. 18-year-old freshman. He dropped down 3 spots in the draft board from 28 to 31. He's still the youngest player in this draft by a lot. He won't be 19 till like a few months into his rookie season, which is insane. But yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of potential. He's a top guy coming out of high school. Score at every level. NBA, bigger body. Use his body to his advantage as well. Catch and shoot was very solid. Finishing inside. Tough shot maker. Rebounding. He's got a lot of potential. It's just the other things. Efficiency wise, wasn't good. He only shot 38% from the field. Can he do other things besides scoring the ball, like do things defensively or pass the ball, play make, do other things? Well, and then of course I think maybe a little bit of just being more mature. There's a lot of times where he had a turnover or a missed shot and he just kind of soaked a little bit and didn't really get back on defense. So he definitely needs to get better there. But I think he definitely got a lot of potential. I'm not really sure where he's going to go in the draft, to be honest. I definitely could see him dropping, but also see him, a team maybe late first round taking a chance on him because of his potential he's got. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he comes on draft night, where it comes to. But, yeah, I think he definitely still has a lot of potential in him, especially with him being, having his size and the skill set that he has. It's just waiting to see what team will take the chance and develop him. Yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. We have said a lot. Tomorrow, we'll be doing 30 to number 1. And then Thursday, I'll be doing my official mock draft of the first round before the NBA draft on Thursday night. Very excited for it. And, yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow.